Whoa, welcome back everyone to another Let It Cook episode 4. I'm one of your hosts, James Montemagno. With me as always, Mr. Burke, Holland, and so many of our friends. Burke, we got Sam, Bridget, and the one and only Brendan Burns. How's it going, everybody?
Awesome. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I cannot wait for the weekend. I'm so ready to not be in front of this computer. My other monitor won't work, so it's just like single laptop day, and it's very upsetting. If people weren't at Build, maybe you visit us virtually, because a bunch of us and a bunch more were vibe coding for multiple hours, like 8 hours a day, all throughout Build, building real cool, awesome things. And here on Let It Cook on the vscode channel, we're always talking about the latest and greatest and what's happening in vscode and agent mode and agentic AI for development. But we built real things. And the coolest part, I don't know about you, Burke, but afterwards, everyone came up. I think everyone here was just like, that was so much fun. We should do it again. And then we should do it more. And then we're like, we do it all the time. But other people afterwards kind of continue to code. And we wanted to give an update of where the apps were from our experience. How was your experience, Burke?
Yeah, same. So I think the vibe coding for me was like one of the highlights of Build. Y'all, like, it was the most fun. And not just when we were in the box, but also we did the VS Code live with all the Bridget trying to build a Frogger game. It was Frogger, right? I don't know why I can't remember. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that was awesome. But I agree. Like, once you get started with something and you get cooking, as it were, like, you can't just stop, right? You can't just stop with the thing. You got to keep going. And that's what some people have done. I did not. I just stopped. But other people who are better engineers than me kept right on rolling.
How was your experience, Brendan, in the box?
I thought it was awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. In fact, I'm actually doing it again for my org, or for actually all of Azure Core, which is like a engineering org in Azure, just to kind of do it, show people how to approach the stuff. So it was awesome.
That's really cool.
I don't think my moderator is going to be as good as my build moderator, but we'll see. We'll see
what we can do. That's for sure. Yeah, we had some awesome MCs live. I think the chemistry was awesome in the booth. That's for sure. Bridget, did you get pretty far on your app, or how did it go?
It was pretty good. I made another game. And so, because we had done Frogger on Monday, like Burke mentioned. So then we did Pac-Man. I think we got like votes from the chat. So someone mentioned Pac-Man. I was like, that's a great idea. And so it was really fun too, because Copilot decided to like draw by hand some of the icons. And so I was like, oh, that's an artistic interpretation of like a whale or a ghost, I guess. That's cool. But yeah, it worked, at least functionally, the baseline of Pac-Man, which was cool.
Also cool. And Sam, you decided for the first time ever in your life to try to do a mobile application, I'm pretty sure. And have you given Apple $100 to now publish this application, and you're making millions of dollars? Is that what my understanding is?
I'm not making any money, but I have given Apple my money. But I had a great time vibe coding for sure. I did feel like it was a bit of a disaster, don't you think, Burke? Like, there was a lot of struggles going on.
What? No way. It was real life. It was awesome, man. That was actually one of the highlights for me as well, when we got it working at like the very last moment, where it went from completely broken to mind-blowingly good with charts and everything. Amazing.
With 2 minutes to spare, but there was a lot of just code happening for the majority of it.
Oh my goodness. Well, we have lots of updates today, and we're going to get into it just so you can kind of see what people made and did, because I've seen Sam's new app, and it is an upgraded app that he's continued to work on. It is ridiculous, but I haven't seen too much of anything or where people stopped or where they went. But Burke, let me bring up your screen and let's go to you first. And,
yeah, let's do it.
What did you decide to build?
So I built, I only know one trick, and I just keep doing it. So I have this lamp behind me here, right here. And I built a website that lets you control the lamp chat. So we'll drop it in here in a minute, and you'll actually be able to control my lamp in real time.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I don't know about everybody else. I think I heard Sam say this, but I did not write any of this code. Not a lick of it was written by me. And it's an Azure static web apps site. So it is deployed right now. And again, I'll give you the link here in just a second. So it's deployed and it has an API because I need my API key to be, super secret and stuff. And what it does, pull it up. Let's just show it to you. So here it is running locally. And the only thing I want to point out here is like, chat, do you see like the particles in the background, like this right here?
Oh yeah, is that like a constellation?
I don't even know what that is. If you recall, James, like Copilot just did this, and I don't even remember what prompt we gave it. We were telling it to make it more modern, I think.
Not that modern, too modern.
And, well, usually when if you tell Copilot to make something more modern, what it does is it gives you a purple gradient. That is the answer to that question. But in this case, because we were also talking to it with like Gen Z slang. Do you remember that?
I do.
Like we were using Gen Z slang to prompt it. Yeah, Chad, it was super fun. And I don't know if that helped with the particles, but we did end up with particles like constellations back here. I don't even know how this works. I have no clue. Okay, so the way this works is it's pretty simple, right? Turn the lamp on and off with this button here. And then you can control the brightness. Yeah, we've got a color picker. How does this?
Burke, didn't you bring this lamp on the plane with you?
I brought a lamp on the plane. Yes. Is that strange? I did have to go through TSA. I don't actually know how to change. I don't think this actually works.
It just changed it to blue.
It changed it to blue. Yeah.
But now it's not changing it. I don't think we tested this. Test your code, chat. Yeah, I don't think we tested that, but these work. Don't they?
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, it looks like it works.
Yeah, there we go. So anyway, that's our site. Maybe we should turn this on for folks so they can. Oh, I see the brightness is way down. Let's turn the brightness up. That might be a problem.
And or someone already got the real link and then they're like modifying it in real time.
They could be. So let me go grab that real quick.
Did you hear? This is very early days of the internet, but did you know about the RP at Rensselaer Polytechnic people who put their thermostat on the internet?
No.
So they like early IoT hack days. They like put their thermostat of their dorm room on the internet, and you could either turn it up or turn it down. And it was like an internet war over whether they were going to like roast these people or freeze these people. And I think it ended up with like the roast these people won. But like there's a graph of like the thermostat over time as the internet tries to like vote it up and vote it down.
Oh my God, I like that. It's like early chat plays Pokemon days, basically.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
When was that, Brendan? Like,
good God, like 2000 maybe 2002.
Okay,
like
right.
real. I'll try and look it up. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, because I don't know that one, and I know most of these. So I was like 2000. Where was I? I think I was in the military. I wasn't on a computer. That's why. All right. Let's see here. Grabbing the URL.
And you actually deployed this. Like this has a functions backend. This has the web front end, so you can hide your keys. So the keys aren't in the web app, right, Burke?
They are not in the web app.
And I believe you vibe coded the backend. And what was it, like about 3 minutes? I'm pretty sure is how long that took. Remember we like scrambled at the end.
I don't.
You don't even remember
when we did the backend. Yeah, so we built the whole thing, and then we were like, oh, we got to deploy it, and then we threw that together like in 5 minutes. Yeah, that's about right. I can't drop a comment in here because I'm not signed in. Maybe I'll just send it to you.
Drop. You go into. Oh, you got to send it to me. If you're in StreamYard, put it in.
I can't.
Oh, do you need me to take your screen off?
Yeah, take my screen off for a second.
There you go. Now your screen's off. Now it's just
All
us
right.
hanging. Ooh, crazy slow screen.
And
ooh, that's pretty good.
I'll send this to you because for some reason I don't have access to the chat. My admin privileges are gone, probably due to my behavior last week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There we go.
So you deployed this out, and you're like, "This will be fun. Just let everybody actually do it." Let's let people do it. Did you just send it in Teams?
I did. I Teamsed it to you.
Why did you Teams it to me?
How else do you want me to get it to you?
In the StreamYard chat. There's a whole
I
chat room.
I can't. Oh, wait a minute. I can put it in StreamYard. There it is. Chat with everyone in the studio. I'm not good at technology, James. You know this. I've explained this before.
He is very poor at the internet. All right, there it
Yes.
goes. It's going live.
Internet.
Azure Static apps. It's there.
Let's go.
And
See what you got, chat.
Teams
Make
has
the
crashed my
slam dance.
webcam, so that's good. Oh, I guess we need to like put your screen bigger. Okay, it's live. It's happening. The question
Oh,
is,
it says connecting. Oh, it's okay. It's connected. Oh, there. Oh, okay. Somebody's already on it. So this is interesting. The people always like the first thing they do is turn the lamp off. And we almost had to remove that during the vibe coding session because people were abusing the on off button. So we see chat. If you turn the lamp off, people can't change the color. If you can't be trusted with the on off button, we will remove the on off button. So the other thing that we've done, James, actually on this stream is we've also used this bulb to make an MCP server.
Oh, yeah.
And so that Copilot can tell us when it's done working by changing the color of the bulb, which I think is cool.
I like that. We did that I think, last episode. Definitely check out the previous streams for that one. Did you deploy that somewhere? Is that in a container?
I did. Yeah, it's on GitHub and in the MCP registries pick this stuff up like overnight. If you deploy an MCP server to GitHub, y'all, they will submit a PR like within 30 minutes of you doing so to get your MCP server on their registry. Yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. Well, Burke, your code is in the show notes. All the links are in the show notes. You can see all the code that was vibed and updated as well.
Oh, yeah, I should grab the GitHub link. Oh, it's already there? You've already got it, right?
It's already in the show notes because I'm so prepared for the stream. It's like I know what I'm doing here, Burke.
No kidding.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Brendan, I believe you were solving some family problems. What were you actually building? I didn't get to watch all of it. I got to see a little bit of the end of what you were cooking up.
Yeah, so it's not family. I think family problems. I asked the family what would be useful. So
okay,
aiming for utility, not really solving family problems. And also, like StreamYard now is not showing me anything.
Oh, I can see you.
I just got a big old blank screen, so that's pretty awesome. If I hit reload, does it like completely drop my connection?
It'll just refresh it. It'll be really fast.
Let's see how fast it is.
All right, I'm
gonna try it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
This anytime people are like newer to stream, like what's gonna happen? It'll happen. Let's see. We got a whole bunch of people in the chat while we're here going here. We got some people from South Africa, UK, from India, another folk from Spain in here.
Oh, what's up?
There we go. Brendan is.
All right, am I back?
You're back.
All right, now I can see you all. I opened a new tab.
Nice.
That was fast. That was like 10 seconds. Impressive, StreamYard.
All right, yeah. So we built a reminder app that is like basically to keep track of various family reminders.
You may bring your screen up.
We don't have to remind people. Yeah, you can bring my screen up. And since then, I actually added a GitHub action. I should say also this is like also pure vibe code, right? I don't think I've written any of it. Added a GitHub action that automatically pushes a Docker image because I have a Kubernetes cluster sitting in my house, and so this is where stuff gets deployed, like
of course
inside our internal LAN. So automatically pushes a Docker container on every pull request.
Nice.
I have the config here, so go back over here. We got our Kubernetes config for deploying it. This is a private registry, so don't try, all you people out there on the internet who want to pull it down. Like, it's not happening. We got HTTPS set up. This was, undo that, whatever that change was. We got, again, generated HTTPS, just said, hey, add me some HTTPS. Added persistent storage with SQLite, and actually also added a MongoDB backend if anybody wants to use it to talk to MongoDB. So we can actually see this main.
Now, did you write that, or did you have Copilot write that?
This is all Copilot.
Wow. I have found it recently. I've been doing a lot of like GitHub actions and different work like that, and I was like, yeah, go do it. I don't want to look up the documentation. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know how these things are supposed to look, I guess, at some level. So like, you can look at it and be like, oh no, actually, but actually, you did a pretty good job. All right. Oh, it was NPX.
Now, did you decide the tech stack when you were building this like ahead of time, or did you just let Copilot go off?
What did I decide? I said we were going to do the backend in Go. So there's a Golang API server. So I said, hey, we're going to build this API server in Go. And then I wanted to build the front end in TypeScript. And somewhat controversially, we decided to use jQuery for the TypeScript engine.
All right.
Because, you know, we had a bit of a discussion about how I don't really do front end. And the last time I did front end, it was jQuery. So we decided to see what kind of modern jQuery we could do. And so now if we open up this one.
I was just checking here to see what jQuery is at. 3.7.1.
Yeah, so I don't actually even know. Is that how many versions they've revved since I last did? Anyway,
it was updated 4 days ago, so
see,
jQuery is still alive.
See,
and well.
I'm telling you, it's the modern, you know. So this is the app, and you can go in and you can add in a family. We could put in use the Jetsons. And this was sort of the quiz. Could you remember George, Lizzie,
Judy,
Astro? I couldn't remember the kids, but we'll just stop there.
Yeah.
What was the robot's name?
That's Rosie, right? Rosie's the robot.
Rosie the robot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There wasn't 2 kids?
There are 2 kids. I can't remember the 2 kids.
Okay.
Jane, maybe is Jane one of them?
I think that sounds about right.
So then I actually then usability tested it with the family, and the usability testing revealed that we needed different recurrence relationships. Although my screen is not showing. That's interesting. So when I click on this once thing on my screen on my laptop here, I see the menu dropping down.
Oh, okay, I think if you shared, interesting.
I shared the window. I shared the window. Is this maybe a pop up?
Yeah.
Doesn't believe that it's the window. Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Well, anyway, so like one of the things that I had was I had a recurrence, and I didn't have daily in there. I had like weekly where you could click on the days, but the user feedback was if I want to do it every day, I don't want to have to go in and click 7 times to activate all the days. I want just like a daily feed. So we implemented that again. I went into to Copilot and I was like, add this recurrence.
We got Elroy is the son.
Elroy.
Yeah, Astro was the
Elroy.
Dog.
Astro
so we have Elroy and
I think it's
all right.
Jason.
So then if we we add a daily reminder to like eat my vitamins.
You eat vitamins or you take vitamins?
I mean, they go in your mouth and you swallow them,
That
right?
is
I mean,
true.
that's eating,
We are
right?
eating them.
I've never heard anybody say I'm going to eat vitamins.
I'm gonna start
You eat
saying
dinner
that.
like you
I'm gonna-
eat dinner. Yeah.
I mean, I have to admit that like my vitamins are gummies, so like it's a little bit like having a gummy bear because I have a soft spot for that. All right, we'll add a reminder, and then you can see this this reminder here, and then actually if you want to see like, okay, what are all my reminders, I can go over here, and again it's not highlighting unfortunately, but you can see what's due today, all my reminders, what are the ones I completed today, and if I say okay, I want to mark it as complete. Okay, I don't have any reminders due today. But I got a completed one here, and then actually I can go over to the completed reminders, and I can say, okay, who completed their reminders today? And you see all this here. So when we left build, I would say we only had the one screen. I don't know why now it went out of full screen here, and it won't come back. Edge. There we go. So when we came out of build, we only had this home screen. And so the member view, the completed reminders, the GitHub action to deploy the container, the Kubernetes config, that's all Copilot generated after build. And it's now deployed actually into the internal network. And so we're starting to figure out like what's the screen we're going to use for it, because we don't want to just have like everybody access. We don't want it to be yet another excuse to use your computer. So
you need like a nice touch-friendly thing where everyone can see all the reminders in real time.
Yeah. So the debate is whether to, and this is actually interesting. I was going to see if Copilot could do this too, because one of the debates is like maybe it's a Arduino, maybe it's a Raspberry Pi plus a touchscreen.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's an Arduino with an e-ink display.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Which I
Yeah.
think is cool because it's low power, right? So you don't have to put
Yeah.
it near a plug. You could put it on a battery and like have months worth of battery time if you do e-ink and an Arduino. I've done e-ink on Arduino before, but it was painful, and so I'm sort of hoping that Copilot is smart enough that it knows how to do that. So it'll be an interesting test to see if it's smart enough to do that.
That'd be pretty good. So you spent about an hour and a half in the booth, and then how much longer have you spent on the app since?
Maybe about the same.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah,
3 hours deployed to production. That's pretty impressive. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I would say like the thing about it is like that time frame isn't too unrealistic to me just writing it myself, right? Like I could have hacked it out myself probably in that amount of time, but the UX would have been way worse, right? Like it would have been some terrible, and it wouldn't have had like the drop down calendar view, and like it wouldn't have had, there's a lot of stuff that just kind of like automatically dropped in when I asked it to do stuff that was like the stuff around the stuff. You know, it was like, could you add a reminder? And it was like, yeah, and I'll also add a mark completed button, right? So it's interesting to sort of see like the stuff that it anticipated, if you will, or sort of like just brought in already on top of it. So yeah,
that's cool. Any lessons learned from the booth, kind of getting in there for the first time, like as far as like just jamming on a new idea that you like wish you would have started with, or any tips and tricks?
I think initially there was a little bit of the like, oh my gosh, like, you know, you feel this a little bit. It's like, oh my gosh, people are going to see like how I don't, like, I think how I fumble my way through stuff. I think that's a good thing, right? But like, for the first couple times, you're like, oh, wait a minute, like that command didn't work. And like your brain, I mean, I know this from doing other kinds of streams like this, but like your brain works at like a quarter speed when you're like trying to keep the live stream going and also debug at the same time. You're just like, oh God. Like,
yeah, live debugging is the worst. On stage, Brendan, this probably happened to you too. Like when you get a bug on stage and like you cannot debug. I can't at all in front of an audience.
I do it. I've done it, but it's definitely like at a quarter speed, right? Because like you're running your brain to like try and keep the dialogue going, keep the engagement, and at the same time you're like trying to run the thread that is like, how do I figure out what's actually going on?
Yeah.
Right. And that's.
Well, and it's got the other aspect of it too, which is like it's not code that you wrote. Like I was doing a video as well as someone yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, like I've done this demo 1,000 times, but now it's like it's not building." I was like, "Just let it keep grinding. Just tell it to fix the error." So you kept going and like do the thing over and over again, and because you're like, "Well, I don't even know what to fix. I mean, I could, but it would take me more time." You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally got there. That was an interesting realization actually, that I hadn't, because I'd used Copilot before, but way more in like tab complete mode.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, hey, I just want to do this, do it for me. Versus like, okay, like really, I have no clue what's going on.
Right?
So what was this your first, Brendan, like your first experience kind of doing that, like handing the reins over? Because I feel like that's a big jump for people going from completions to just giving the agent, like you just do it.
Yeah, like I think this was definitely the first time, and I'd done it before because I sort of practiced because I knew I was going on, so I was like, I'm going to actually try this before I do it for the first time on stage. So I'd actually tried it although I hadn't really like gone to the full on like, no, I really want it to work, like as opposed to like, did it sort of work? So I think it was really interesting in my mental model of like, I realized my brain was just like, I don't want to go figure out. I'm not motivated at all to go figure out why this doesn't work. I just want you to figure, especially in the UX code, because like I don't really know. I know, as I said, I know a little jQuery, but like I don't know a lot of like UX, and I don't get along very well. I was very much in this like, no, just please figure it out. Like although interestingly, so I subsequently was doing this for a game engine that I was writing over the weekend. And like it was really great, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't display pictures for me, and I literally spent like 4 hours just like yelling at this thing trying to get it to do the right thing. Just like trying different avenues of like, and it was literally because it was like, okay, like I could spend a bunch of time to figure out how this thing is working and why it's not working, but like I feel like at that point then you're kind of owning the code. It's hard to be mixed mode, right? So it's like, if I'm going to switch into actually debugging this code and owning the code, I'm going to be switching out of the like, this is just a compiler, and into the like, no, I'm actually authoring stuff. And I think it's very hard to go back and forth.
I think
I didn't really want to switch into the like, no, this is my code.
it's like a different muscle that you're like, because you already have like this muscle in each context. So it's like blending that muscle together of like, okay. And what I've been starting to do recently is try to like let it cook on something. So I'll give it a command. And then what I'll do is like, I'll go work on a different file or a different function. So while it's actually editing a bunch of files, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know I want to like change this other part of the app. So then I'll go to that other file and I'll just start editing the code and doing code completions, or I'll just do an inline chat where it's actually doing multiple requests at the same time. It's like a tricky one. So I'm trying to like retrain myself. Kind of what you're saying, Brendan, is like, okay, it's doing something kind of like I'm assigning Burke work right now, but I'm going to go work on something that I want to. And I'm not sure if I like that or not. I'm not positive, but I've been trying it out to see like how that works.
I've been figuring out that actually like a lot of it is figuring out what is the thing you have to get it to shape to, right? Like what's the API that you want to get it to drive to? Like how do you sort of put the box around it to keep it in the rough space? Because otherwise it's just too wide open. I think like it's too many possible solutions, and when it goes, it's great if it works, but when it goes off the rails, it's like you didn't give it enough guidance to not go off the rails. So I don't know.
That's
fun.
Cool. I'm
glad. I'm now I'm never going to write a UX again. Never going to write a UX again.
No,
it's all going to be jQuery generated by Copilot.
Oh gosh, the amount of jQuery on the internet's about to explode.
That's right.
Someone did say jQuery beta 4 is 4 is in beta, so Magic said
telling you, modern.
Let's make it more modern.
Big year for jQuery. It's coming back.
Well, I'll give a small little update here really quick. It's not as cool as deploying it into a Kubernetes cluster at my own house, which I need to learn how to do that. Now I'm like intrigued. Like I want to do that.
It's really not that hard. I mean, it's really not that hard. Like I could do it in under the amount of time it took me to do this app.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
By like an order of magnitude.
All right, this is gonna be the weekend hack. Where can I do this? I'm into it, and I'll give you feedback, Brendan. Here's how it went. Okay, let me get my screen up here. Then Burke, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, I got you.
You're gonna have to help me out, bro. Okay. Okay. Cool. Tell me when I'm up.
You're up.
Okay. Cool. So this is the app that I was working on. It looks about 1,000 times better now. So this is my FeedbackFlow app that I've been building. It's actually like on GitHub as well, and I've been using Coding Agent. Like as you can see, I have this new idea at midnight. I put it in here, and I'm just like, go do it. It actually implemented the entire what's new feature for me. This is like where's the what's new? This whole page is generated based on a markdown file that it grabs and embeds it into the app. So this is all Copilot, just like did everything. And then what I've been doing, kind of to like what Brendan was saying, is like what I've been doing for like the guardrails is like I have a new feature, and then I have like GPT-4.1 spec it out. Then I create the issue. Then I send it to Copilot, or I'm like walking through the steps. So like here's the implementation details, and then it just kind of like does it basically, which is cool. So what I wanted to do is I used to have in the old version of the app, every single platform would have its own entry. So I wanted this auto mode entry. And what Myra and I figured out, look at this little animation again, kind of like Brenda was saying, like, look at so many animations. Debbie and my team hates that it just adds little tiny animations.
It likes floating buttons a lot.
But I love floating buttons. So it might say in my Copilot instructions that I love floating buttons. So in here now, what's cool is this does like a bunch of analysis. So let's say we take take Bridget's video here, because John's here. How many comments do we have? 12 comments. Perfect. So I'm just going to jam it in here. And then what it used to do is you'd have to go, oh, this is YouTube, this is Reddit, this is Hacker News. And then what it would have to do is like figure out like what the service was, call different URLs, do a bunch of stuff. And what it's doing is it's grabbing all the YouTube comments, and then it's doing this analysis using Azure AI. And you got to have confetti. I've added so much more confetti, so everywhere. So now, like I can take this, and this gives me like a TLDR because Burke said it was too long. It gives me the audience sentiment, content, viewer feedback, and then I can like view the comments in real time. And of course, it animates because why not? Here, which is cool. So this needed a huge refactoring. And the one problem I ran into is that actually in my code, there was one line of code missing, which is this one. And in Blazor apps, you can put CSS in the code behind basically. And what I found out is I don't know if it was a me problem or somebody, Claude or Jippity, decided to delete this one line of code. And basically it was like only getting like my other CSS, because again, I don't know how the internet works. So I was working deep with Claude 4 the other day, and it was like, hey, so you're missing this file. It took me like forever. I was like jamming it. Why won't it work? And it started analyzing all my CSS and figuring out, it's like, hey, you're missing this one line of code, and it fixed it, and it lit all up. And then the app just looked amazing. So from there, I've done a bunch of stuff. So I've added a new share capability. So like again, confetti, because I gotta have confetti. But now I can take this and I creates a share link. This saves it into Azure storage. I added these in. Oh, look at this. I automatically grab the YouTube. Yeah. Anytime someone tells me to do something, I do it. So I do this. This is really cool. But the feature that I added was this. So like now, for example, let's say Bridget had like a Hacker News article, had a Reddit thread on this or whatever. Let's see if there's anything else on NES over here. Do we have like another NES video?
We got lots of NES videos.
I bet you do. Is it this one? Yeah, perfect. So let me grab this one. So let's say we're doing some analysis of it. So now it's going to parse multiple URLs, grab all the comments from both of the sources and from different sources, right? And then what it's going to do is do an analysis of all of them and each of them individually as well. So let's see how fast it is. This is running on my local machine, talking to Azure AI. So now it's going to do an analysis of 12. So this was like the big refactoring. What I found out is like the original code that it wrote was completely not set up for this at all. So I had to do a huge major refactor. I didn't do anything. I mean, it did the refactoring completely. But so now we have a multi-source analysis. It does an overview, right, of all the videos. So video 1, video 2, looking at the key findings. And then it does an analysis of like each video. So it does a deep analysis of the first one. So a huge analysis of the first one. I had it write the prompt that it does, and then it does an analysis of each video individually, right? So then you can also share that out to the world, or you could save it. And I also had it implement, what's really cool is I had it refactor how I'm saving stuff. Let me go into my F12. Is actually, I had it, where is the application? I had it put everything into an IndexedDB. Did you know there's a whole database just sitting there in your browser? Like,
you're actually using IndexedDB?
Oh yeah, look at this thing. I saved the entire, look, all of it. Yeah, dude. I love it. It's amazing. And then I had it write the IndexedDB interop. So this all happened in the last like week and a half. So like inside of my
man, I haven't seen IndexedDB in so long.
Look at this.
Literally
it wrote
years.
all of it. It wrote all of the JavaScript for me to interop with IndexedDB. It wrote the C# layer on top of it, and it's all there. It does migration.
Just don't get yourself a second computer. That's all I have to say.
That is correct. so that's why I don't have 0 login. There's only like a single password on it. But I did do that, and then yeah. So that is the only problem that I have. But I do have this nice light theme in dark mode, and this is the thing I couldn't get working in the chat because of stuff. But see, now I've saved it, so you can't do it, and then I can share it, and then once it's shared, it'll like gray that out as well. You can speak it back. Work? It does. Well, I'm probably not sharing my audio, but it does. I just heard it. So it says that works 100%. And then I also added this feeds. So this I don't have any feeds or the reports, but if I had reports, basically every Monday there's these big reports that get generated and does a bunch of stuff. So anyways, that's what I've been up to over here, chat. Really making this thing look super butter. And then I have manual mode too. I don't know, I've just been so into doing stuff. I added this. I added this nice little, look at that. I didn't do that, but it did it. So I did this huge refactoring as well. And I kind of pointed out is I'm not just adding new code. Like if I go up to the closed issues here on FeedbackFlow, there is, let's see, is it that one? Refactor, enhance, I don't know, my terrible names. Let's see, maybe is it this one? Yeah, this one is like a huge refactor. I'm having it like really delete tons of code. So this was one where I had it legitimately delete all of these files. So this was the auto mode. This was the result. Is I had it delete all of this code that it had generated for all the different inputs. Because I started with like 2, and then I got to like 5 or 6 or 7 different inputs. So now it just has this one. So it does huge refactoring of this code and huge refactoring of everything. So when people think like, oh, can you look at this, another one, just like huge refactoring. So when you're thinking like, okay, can it do that? And then
Wait a minute, the coding agent deleted the files, or GitHub Copilot deleted files in VS Code?
I
Or
had
Visual Studio.
I had the coding aid. I know I had GitHub Copilot in VS Code. I said, hey, now that we have the auto data source, I made that first. So I made this. That's that new homepage here. So there used to be able to click on these and it would go to a different UI for every single source, which made no sense because you're just entering a URL. But the logic was different. It was like, okay, I'm in YouTube mode. Now I'm just like, figure out you're in YouTube mode. You're smart enough, right? So what I had it do is I said, okay, now that we have auto mode, delete everything that you don't need anymore. Just delete it all. And then it just did an RM and just like deleted all these files.
So, okay. So it generated a script to delete the files.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have to click continue, right? It'll say like, "Hey, I want to delete shit," and then you go.
Correct.
Actually, not anymore. Yeah, there's a setting you can toggle on that just says just do things, right? Don't ask me. It's fine. Just do them. I forget off the top of my head what it's called. Auto approve. If you just go to settings and look for auto approve, which is.
I'm not sure I turned that on personally.
Right. Well, we recommend that people be in a dev container if they do that, just in case. rm-rf/ or something.
Yeah.
That's
push-f.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my update, Burke and everybody. So I'm pretty happy with it. And this has an Azure Function backend, so I had it write a bunch of stuff for that too. So in the backend function, I have this whole sharing functionality. So this goes in and it is basically going off and it's doing a shared analysis. So it can save a shared analysis. It takes in the huge blob, the stuff that I'm storing in IndexedDB, and then it shares it off into a blob container with a unique identity. And then you can go and pull it. And then I also had it because I was like, I don't want to like save these in eternity. I just said, hey, create a script for me. Cause like I never know what the cron job things are. I was just like every 30 days or every night run this. I think it's every night run this. And then delete anything that's older than 30 days. So it's just like, I got you. So that was a fun.
So we got a question here from chat real quick. Jorge's asking, do you have custom instructions or custom prompts here?
Yeah. So this is a cool part. I often have Copilot update my custom instructions all the time. So often like when I did the CSS stuff, after I implemented like dark mode, I said, hey, can you please go add a custom instruction about theme support for best practices? And look at this. Do you see this? So it's like transition, easing, apply color transitions. So I have stuff about a lot of CSS. So there's a lot of CSS best practices, Blazor. And then I'm really big into this project structure. This is my project structure. This is like what you need to look at. So when I'm like work on the web app, it's like, it knows what it is, where the code is. And then I always like to put where my code is at in the Copilot instructions, just in case any MCP servers.
Yeah, the GitHub MCP really likes that.
Yeah. So this is about 128 lines, maybe a little bit too long, but I do like that. My security, just validate the input. That's it. So nailed it.
That's all you need.
That's all you did. I did have one prompt, which was new service. So when I was implementing services, now I can delete this, I think. I can update this, I think. So whenever I was implementing a new service, it had to go update mocks and interfaces and UI and stuff. So after I implemented the first service, which was YouTube, I said, create a new prompt outlining the details of everything that you just did. So I can repeat that in a step order. So this is the prompt I have, which is implement a new service. So I'll tell it like, oh, we want to go implement a new service for Mastodon. And then it will step through this process and it'll update and create the thing for me. So that way I don't have to, like say, okay, so I don't have to say, okay, let's go create the UI. Okay, let's create the backend. Let's create the interface or have it try to figure it out. It's going to step through one by one basically and do this. So those are my prompts. I'm not a big prompt file person yet, but Debbie is winning me over on my team with playwright prompts, and it's pretty rad. So yeah, I need to put the agent mode stuff in here as well. So and there's new modes, a whole bunch of stuff. So
yeah, prompting is the future.
Yeah,
maybe we'll see. All right,
stop sharing. Boom. Cool. That's what I got. Bridget,
awesome.
I like mine's data entry. Everyone else is making real things.
Look at this.
Families.
A wild herald appears.
Whoa! Oh my goodness, Bridget, how'd the game go? Did you continue to dev afterwards? Like, what happened?
Yeah, so Okay, I think I'm sharing my screen now. Okay,
I got it.
Amazing. Okay, let me zoom in. I'm on a second monitor here, so I can do a quick summary because I was in 2 different vibe coding sessions, which were awesome. So in the first one, it was 4 of us making a Frogger game. And for context, I wanted to add the challenge of adding this code to an existing site that we actually use on our team and that I actually like help develop and maintain with our team. And it's about dev containers. So if you go to containers.dev, you'll see this site. It doesn't have the game tabs, but I have published the code on a branch. So if you would like to build this yourself, you can have access to these awesome dev container versions of these games. But this talks all about just like what dev containers are, their open spec, how folks can contribute. So I thought it'd be cool to have a twist on these games that was like, hey, make them dev container themed and kind of see how Copilot can integrate with existing code base and also just like an existing theme of something that you want to tackle and work on. So for our Frogger game here, our little icon is considered this like a box for a dev container. And then instead of looking like cars, you're dodging like different developer tools or packages. They have like the Docker whale or Git. And then I wanted to add some other customization. So made it look like a code editor in the background. So it has some like line numbers there. It also makes it where each different level that you have for Froggers, like a different stage of setting up a dev container. And so it's like one of those are, okay, maybe it's like if you wanted to gamify your site or make it where people are like learning information in an interactive way. It's like, okay, this is an example of maybe how you could do that. And then also because I just like having Copilot like generate jokes and see what it comes up with. That's something that I think is funny. I asked it to come up with dev container jokes. And I think when we looked at these live, I think Burke was like super impressed with them. But they're there. Let's see if I can get it.
Wait,
so,
what's the punchline?
why did the dev container break up with the old environment? Any guesses before we see the punchline?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Because it needed more space.
It's kind of like if you have, Chad, if you have like small kids, they go through this phase where they will come up with jokes. I feel like all small kids do this. That's what this reminds me of. LLMs telling jokes. Yeah,
they're so good, man. You mean?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get to the second. Oh no.
Ah.
It's too hard, but it's cool too because you can see that it went to like the different stage. So it pulled in context and information from the rest of the site of like, hey, how do dev containers work? What are the stages of setting them up? And actually pulled that to contributing to adding content to this, which I thought was cool. And then the game that Pierce and I vibe coded in the booth was dev container themed Pac-Man. So if we unpack this, if I zoom in, you might be like, what is that? This was Copilot drew a Docker whale. And so it made its own little blob thing. And then
I was wondering what those were for the last few weeks.
Yeah, what is that?
Poor whales. Poor whale.
What? Docker whale. And then we asked, what is the green arrow? And they said, well, that's the water spout. And I don't know why they made it a green arrow, but close enough. Like, why not? You take some artistic liberties. I can appreciate that. And then we asked it to come up. So, okay, we didn't add jokes to this one. This is kind of like adding jokes in a way. We're like, okay, we want themed monsters. And so it came up with different like monster things. Again, kind of related to content that it pulled from the rest of the site as context. So like, okay, we have the YAML Yeti. And I thought these are pretty cool.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, that is truly terrifying.
And it did good too, kind of like choosing actual like themes, like, okay, it made like the registry ghost actually look, oh, okay, it's like I don't know what that is actually. I thought that made sense, and now it looks like something cut off. But anyways, I thought those are super fun. And something cool too, besides the theming that we have there, is I had a variety of custom instructions that I had in my repo and some prompt files. And because this is an actual code base that we really work on, I wanted to add instructions that I felt like made sense for things that like I run into, other folks run into when we add pages or new content to the site. So a couple of different things is like we have different levels of pages. Like we have these top level ones. And so I had wanted our games to be top level. Because of course, who's not going to want to visit our site and go straight to the games? But like within the spec itself, we have like actual, like, I don't know, we call them like implementer pages for how the site is structured. So kind of have like different instructions for each kind of page. And then I have a prompt file for when you're actually creating a new page. You should clarify, hey, like what kind of page is it going to be? And then use like the appropriate instructions then for that. And there's some like consistent format that needs to be on each kind of page. So making sure that it like adds that code appropriately. We've also found that it's really helpful for making it like more shareable, the content on the site, to make it where each header is clickable, and also to add some like search functionality. And so I think I had actually previously used Copilot to add the search functionality that is on the site, which was cool. So then now I have in my custom instructions of like, hey, when you're making new pages, like you should make different headers clickable, you should add search functionality. So maybe it doesn't necessarily make as much sense for this example, but it'll be helpful in like future things of actually developing on this site. Of cool, it's just going to take away that more manual step, or someone opening up a PR and having to tell them after, hey, can you remember to do that part?
So I think you're onto something. This like learning the spec through a game, or like all the terminology is there's something here of like the Pac-Man, like, oh, you're install now, you're the next dependency, and then adding the jokes along the way to maybe even get some facts around the project. There's something.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I don't know, instead of having like a README, your README can be an interactive game of, hey, if you can get through 5 levels of Frogger, you'll have learned 5 new dev container facts, and you're ready to onboard to the project. And then as well, for my actual development, I developed within a dev container. I've always used a dev container for developing this site. So folks actually check out the code for it on GitHub. We have the .dev container there. And something cool that we've also done is we recently published something that we did after build. So we published a blog all about like remote and AI interoperability and synergy. So definitely recommend folks checking that out. But something that our team had done is we talked about, hey, here's how you can use custom instructions within your dev containers, similar to like what I was showing you there in my repo, where I have actual custom instructions and prompt files defined. But also on our side, we've gone ahead and we have added custom instructions to the dev container resources we publish and provide for the community. So for instance, like we've added this kind of information to like some of the Python configurations. So that way it tells Copilot a little bit more about, hey, what's in a user's environment. So that way it can kind of catch up and be like, okay, cool, I'm in a dev container. I see I have this. Now I don't have to ask the user, hey, did you have this? Or Copilot doesn't have to go check if it was installed.
That's awesome. I like that. Now, I am a little bit disappointed when I went to containers.dev that I wasn't able to play the game. So I'm a little sad, Bridget, that you didn't deploy to production, because I was pretty stoked to go do this.
I know. I'm sorry, but that's why it is on a branch. So if folks go to this branch, and then you can just pop into the dev container or pop into a code space, which will use the dev container, and then just run the app, you'll be able to play it. So it is available, at least for, if people want to add more games, go modify them, the code's up there.
And I think it's valid that not every vibe coding project should be pushed to production, as we all know.
It's true. Or we were talking about, should we have like a little surprise where maybe it's not like actually at a top level here, but if someone goes to like containers.dev / like Frogger game or something, or / Pac-Man, should it be there? It's like unpublished. So I don't know, TBD. Maybe if we get enough interest, we'll add that as like a little surprise.
Yeah, let Bridget and the team know. I got to do it. How about, so any like lessons learned from you from this experience, or like any like tips and tricks? It sounds like some of the custom instruction stuff for sure. Anything else that would be like a main takeaway from you?
Yeah, I think that like identifying things that have been slowing you down in your workflow and finding ways to automate that, or like take the time to feed that to Copilot, because if you take that time, like a couple minutes up front once, I feel like it's so helpful then moving forward, like taking a little bit of time to put together those custom instructions and prompt files. Now I feel like I actually want to bring those into the main branch of the repo. So that way, hey, when I'm adding a new page or people are contributing, it's going to save that time and include those things. And again, with the custom instructions that we've added now to our resources, I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited to hear what the community thinks, and if folks notice like speed ups or improvements. And all of those are also open source, all of our different like features and templates and images for dev containers. So if you find you're using one and it's like, hey, it would actually be better if it specified this or we modified that, that'd be super awesome feedback. And we're definitely open to PRs.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna go pull it and go take a look at it, because I also love dev containers too. That's rad. Are you gonna build any other games? Or is it's like the end with those 2 games, or like you're like are now inspired to create every 8-bit other game out there, Bridget, with this mechanism?
I know it's pretty fun, and I feel like too it'll be good learning of just like continuing to see what are things that we could like add to like the custom instructions or info on this site. So I feel like kind of like Harold was saying, it's like a fun thing of okay, I got to play a game, but also you do get some like real world learnings, whether it's about like the content on the site or just like things to add to speed up Copilot development for it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want the community to also just, now that you have that infrastructure there, they can pull down your branch and then they could fork it and then do a PR to your branch and start adding games, right? Like, so
Exactly.
maybe that's my next week's live stream, is to take what you have and then like, okay, now I'm going to do Galaga or something like that. You know what I mean? Whatever
Yeah,
your favorite event. Yeah, I love it. Okay. Thank you, Bridget. Let's head over to Sam, because I think Sam was maybe the biggest surprise at the end of the day from the live stream. You know, Sam, you kicked it off and you decided to make a mobile app, which as a mobile app developer is not easy. Well, it's not that it's not easy, but it's also just the complications of SDKs, emulators, simulators, infrastructure, structure. There's 1,000 different things. It's not like you're just pulling down some NPM packages and like, or HTML and CSS and let's go. You know what I mean? So you decided that for your first vibe coding session, you're going to do this. And I don't know why you did, but you made magic, Sam. So we're excited to see what you got.
Yeah, it's come a long way. So that was, I basically built kind of a prototype site using NPM, right? And everyone's like, yeah, turn it into an Android iOS app. So we started off kind of asking how we should do this. And I immediately hit a roadblock, and I'll show you what the roadblock is. Brendan was saying it earlier, like when you're live, you only have like 25% of your brain. It's like that night, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happened. So we instead of building a React Native app, we ended up building a Flutter app. And with 2 minutes to spare, we got it like visualized. But the entire time was literally just Copilot agent mode pounding away. So yeah, let me share my screen.
Yeah, I think what was crazy is that I think because you wanted the charts and graphs, and if I remember, because I remember I watched like almost all this, and I believe it swapped in and out like 18 different packages to try to do charts, and I think that's what it was. But
so the underlying problem is that Flutter can't scrape a website, and I was scraping a live like Wind website, and React, JavaScript could do that fine. But Flutter couldn't do it. And that's why it took so, and finally Copilot was like, okay, we can't do this. We're just going to make some fake data. So the app ended up with fake data with 2 minutes to spare, but we've changed a lot since then.
Wow.
So this is the live iOS emulator, but this is what initially got us off on the wrong foot. The Expo CLI was deprecated, and that's what agent mode kept trying to use was this package, Expo-CLI. You now want to use @expo/CLI to run a React Native app and get the React Native app booted. So this is a full React Native app now. It runs in both iOS and Android. I have it in basically like, it's called Test Flight for iOS. And I have people like it's deployed, to my wife's iPhone, to a bunch of people's iPhones. And then I have it in the Android Play Store in the tests as well. So I have it on my Android. We can share that if we want. Yeah, so let's
so you went from React Native to Flutter and then vibe coded back to React Native once you figured out what was going on. Is that what happened?
Exactly. So I scrapped the whole like kind of project where it was at. I kept like, and I basically went back to React Native and I kind of redid what I was going to do live. And I've been working on it for like 2 weeks now. I've spent a lot more time. Brendan said he spent like 3 hours vibe coding total. I'm way higher than that, but I have fully functional, like different tiers and branches in GitHub. So I'm now in like dev deployment, and I have like an iOS and an Android branch and even feature branches below that. Yeah. So you want to take a tour of the app?
Let's do it.
So this is the main kind of page where you load into, and the alarm is off right now, but like if I turn on the alarm, right, it'll check the alarm at 5 a.m. and it looks at this 3 to 5 a.m. wind window. And if the wind is good from a specific direction, the alarm will ring. Obviously, it was bad today. No good wind. You can see this is the graph, and then it verifies. So if you're actually out at the lake, it'll show you, if you didn't get to go to the lake, hey, would the alarm have woken me up? Was it actually good wind? So it needs to be over 10 mile an hour. And this is all like housed in the settings page. You can change your minimum average direction. If you don't trust the wind direction, you can turn that off now. Like you're like, oh, okay, well, we just care about how strong the wind, not where it's actually coming from. You can change the alarm time. There is a whole Android debug page where down at the bottom, if you double click the development like 5 times, it'll open a debugger, like a development kind of a page where you can turn on these debug settings to help me debug Android. And then so everyone's so excited about this. They started buying wind meters because you can get pretty like decently cheap wind meters that are really good, but they won't go to like a live website. They just kind of go to a personal page. So the group bought one, and now I'm using the APIs from that to actually have at different lakes live kind of wind readings. So I can pull this down and it'll refresh. There's another lake nearby us, and it's giving the actual the history, but they wouldn't have been able to get this on their phone. It's only like a live website that they'd have to use.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's actually a real thing now. This is actually it's a real app.
For sure. I think I have 7 people on Android and 14 people on iOS that are like in the testing phase right now.
How does the repo look like now from like the time where you tried out to make it work to now? Like did the instructions grow? Did like something persist throughout that's like the grain of the idea that's still in the instructions or the plan?
So my instructions really changed a lot. My Copilot instructions were huge, kind of like how James showed. Like I have 150 lines of Copilot instructions. I ended up moving away from that into more of like having documentation. So you can see I have tons of documentation here, like architecture and implementation, build and deployment, development. These are all huge, and these are all maintained by Copilot. I'll show you that in a second. But I moved down to just like the bare minimum for the Copilot instructions. I'm like, I get really tired of it when it tries to do specific things. Like I want it to run npm start. I want it to run npm run lint to check things. I don't want it to go off and try like npx expo, something else. So I've made that very clear.
So it's really focusing on like the mistakes you see and just fixing it in instructions like that.
Yeah, exactly. So 17 lines of my Copilot instructions, but I do have like pretty cool prompts here. Like when I want to add a new feature, I just do this feature prompt and it has like key directories and files. And Copilot builds, I didn't build out these prompts. No way. I told Copilot, hey, I want to add a new feature. And I grabbed the prompt documentation page and I said, build out a prompt. Here's all my docs. And so it built this out. So when I want to add a new feature, I just do /feature and then type in the feature. So that's pretty cool. And then anytime I want to, like the way I work now is I'll have a new chat and I'll kind of go through when I'm happy and I test it and it works. I'll commit and then I'll create a new chat. But I'll commit once and then I'll do /update docs and then I'll make Copilot before I hit new chat. So I'll commit with the working feature and then I'll do /update docs.
I like that. Yeah, I was thinking about doing documentation for a lot of that stuff as well recently, because I actually there was some feature that I think Claude 4 did, and then I was like, I'm just going to document it for you. Like it just was like, I'm going to do it, and then I didn't ask it to, and it just did it. But I was like, oh, that's kind of smart actually. Just have like a bunch of docs on like major features for like anyone coming into the project, because instructions are great, but then how's it actually? It's just more of what you want it to do, not how it was done, right? So that's kind of cool.
So that's why I created this update docs prompt, is because I was using Claude 4 and it was just going wild with documentation, and I was getting doc sprawl all over the place. Like you can already see I have quite a few of them. So that's why I created this prompt to like, if that starts happening, I just do /update docs and it'll consolidate everything into the 5 or 6 necessary ones, and then it'll dump the old ones into a feature guide.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I have like a minimum one that like look at my custom instructions and then look at my workspace and actually make sure the instructions are correct again, like then that kind of helps to capture that drift of like, whoops, I changed the library or something else, right?
So
nice.
What I can't believe is that Copilot got me through building and deploying with all of the certificate nonsense and proper signing using GitHub Actions. So I never built this. I actually just started building this locally so that I could demo this today. I never built it locally beforehand.
Oh, wow. That's a classic move. That's great.
I built it all using GitHub Actions always. And originally with the Android, I would build it to an APK and then put the APK on my phone. But yeah, Copilot got me through all of the like signing and everything certificates you have to do for the Android package and for the iOS package, which is crazy what you have to do for iOS.
Welcome to my life for the last 14 years of fun with provisioning profiles and certificates. So you're only at the I mean you got it up there, which is like the hardest part, but yeah, it's fun. And then those certs expire every year, so good luck with that. I will say this: are you using the Xcode MCP server?
No, I haven't used. I haven't used any MCP servers whatsoever. With all in agent mode.
The Xcode MCP server is great because you can go into chat and then you can just tell it to run this application on this specific simulator or boot your simulator up, because Xcode has all the commands. So I actually sponsored this project on GitHub. It's I forgot the guy's name, Cam, I think I want to say. He's been adding all these amazing features for doing iOS dev from anywhere, but obviously with MCP stuff. So it's all right there and built in. Obviously there's extensions and stuff, but it's super cool. So you can say, oh, run this and do this thing. Pierre showed me that. We're both sponsors.
Oh, nice. So. Yeah. All I run is just npx expo run :iOS, and it'll boot it up and run the simulator.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I said Expo has that build. It's probably using stuff under the hood. So,
but again, I didn't do that until Wednesday. I didn't do a simulator at all. I went straight from like concept to GitHub Actions to deploy.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh, cool. Well, I can't wait to get it. I have an Echo Wit, like I have like a weather tower here, and the app that they have is very subpar. Most of the weather station apps are pretty subpar. So Sam, I need to figure out how to get it.
That is what it is. So I'm using They started buying Echo Wits, and
they're so good.
That's the API I'm using to pull in the Stanley Lake one. So they're actually buying one to put at the head of the lake that I built this for. Cool. And then I'm going to go back and refactor everything and replace the homepage to use that Echo Wit.
Oh, they're so good. Okay, Sam, I'm going to connect out to you and then figure out how to get my house on there, because it's like so cool. I pull over. I guess it's open source. I just pull it myself. That's cool.
You can.
All right, Harold, your last but not least. I think that you weren't actually in the booth, but you were in the stream vibe coding against Bridget, and I'm pretty sure you cheated.
We were all collaborating.
Oh, collaborating with, I should say, yeah.
Maximizing the vibes.
I do believe everyone said that you cheated. So I need you to prove that you didn't cheat.
It's funny. I didn't even think that. And other people are like, oh, Harold cheated. I was like, I genuinely believed that he did it. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, let me open the project to prove how Copilot's just really good at making me look good. Present. Shoot. There. Present here. Share screen. Cool. I want tips on sharing my screen. Yes. No. Entire screen.
Harold's first time on StreamYard.
I haven't studied support. How does screen sharing work?
Okay, I'll bring it up. Ready? Here we go.
No, here we go.
All right, cool. You're good. Zoom in for me.
Make it pop. There we go.
Pop.
Yeah. Pop. Yeah, so this was my prompt. This is a beautiful prompt crafting, how good at prompt crafting. I think the trick really I want to share is use Fight. That always works, because then you have a nice like runnable environment. Copilot's good at Fight, and I think the other one I was just at AI Engineering World Fair, and I talked to a few people on like how to get good results. I think one of them is like nudging the LM off kind of the just use my training data path to be a little more creative, right? Kind of get it off its kind of beaten path, which I think you do in brainstorming as well. You give people curveballs of like, make a poster on the worst idea we could come up with, right? And that's what you do with AI. And my simple like out of the box one is like make it a dark neon theme. Like Frogger is cool, and if you ask for Frogger, you get like the simplest Frogger you can imagine, and it probably looks like Frogger. But if you do a neon theme, it's like that's interesting problem. Like how do we make a Frogger neon? And that's out of the box. It did most of it. It just created the lily pads, and it worked in the end. It's like that. Wow, it did all of this, and then it actually ran. So if I do, and then I did also this one. This is what I mentioned, right? Update my instructions with any changes you made, because instructions were really simple and not they actually reflect
nice.
game mechanics and everything else, and the colors and the project structure. So initially it was like, oh, we're making a Frogger game, and it was like the instructions. So I wanted to have everything, and it didn't even make changes. It just like it made the game. This is the first prompt, basically one shot of the game. Then I updated the instructions, and then I did that. Barely more. That was it. Look at the history. Let's actually run it. Did it do a task? I think it did a task. Yeah, it did a task. Actually, it ran in the browser preview as well. So I opened this. That was on my screen, and then that was a game. It's ridiculous, but yes, and it worked. Except the frog looks in the wrong direction when it goes backward. Right, this kind of it hops backwards. I think it's a crab frog. I don't know. Oh, and then the locks didn't work for the longest time. But that was my fix. So neon, just make things neon. And use Byte. That's my pro tip here. See, no cheating.
No cheating. One shot. It's a good, solid prompt, Harold.
Yeah, right. And what I have to say, what I did try, I did some warm up vibing on like what frameworks should I prompt for, what code plans good, and that's I think what I keep telling everybody, like why you should do vibe coding is to baseline your understanding of like what is the AI good at, because I noticed like 3JS. Yeah, sometimes work. Like it worked for me in this case on my one shot, but it worked kind of 1 out of 4 times because 3JS is not easy to like. It changed over time, right? So there's some drift in like what 3JS does and which dependency you can pull in. I think Vite makes it easier because if you do 3JS in a single page HTML, it's like, how does it include 3JS? It's kind of hard because not every CDN has it. So there's some kind of inherent training data problems in how to do it right. So, but yeah, you can one-shot a 3JS game.
That's pretty good. I was just using 3JS. I ran into that same problem. Like all the CDNs were like all over the place. And I was like, just download it from the website and include the JavaScript file directly. And I was like, okay, I can do that.
And it's also pretty well structured. I think that's what's often interesting. If you do like Vite, it already comes with a lot of kind of baked in structure of what the game follows, and it's nicely kind of separated into everything. And it doesn't use a game framework. Right? That might be a bit easier to reason about what's happening. Now I have no idea like how to actually yeah, I haven't, but I truly vibed. I never looked at the code. I just stayed in natural language and told it what to do next.
Have you worked on it since, or did you just like do you have like any updates since build at all?
I shipped it to all the stores and like 100K AR. On track. No, as a Neon Frogger clone, I haven't done a deeper market analysis on what the market is, but I think at some point maybe the frog will go into the right direction with the ice point, and then I might think about launch.
I like it. I guess you could ask Perplexity to do some deep market research for you.
Yeah, the other one I actually am going to jump on a call with some. Where's this other window I have? So this is what I did at AI Fair, right? That's the other one. Shoot. Now they're all conflicting because they're running on the same port. I want the other one.
Sorry, you can only run Frogger on your machine.
It's only Frogger now.
Just increment it. Just make it 5174.
Yeah,
5175. I would just keep port.
I think I restarted right before I shared. I restarted vscode. That's why everything's funky now. So there you go. Just need 4. Next port. Yeah, this is parallel vibe coding. So this is my hydration tracker. This is my go-to demo, and I did this like in a room full of like everybody built hydration trackers. It's really fun because everybody's like, mine looks totally different than yours. Yeah, which is awesome. And then like this is again one-shotted, and this is actually one of the good results. And then the only thing I did was let's make it more animated. Basically use the picker here and then just pick one of the elements and then make it more animated, and then
Oh, nice.
material UI.
Yeah.
That's the other trick. Like this looks so good. Like create a, again, Vite, right? Secret ingredient to all things on the web. Simple and accessible UI following Apple design principles, right? And that's where you end up with something pleasing to the eye.
Very nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. And the other one is an MCP one, and maybe that I'm gonna pull that into a next live stream because we
Nice.
so deep. And I vibe coded. I found there's a really cool project, Chatterbox, that I found. Not this one, the other one. It's a local model for text to speech. I was like, that's cool. I want Copilot to talk to me more often.
Yeah.
And it's cool because it has like some really nice emotions to it too. And I could run finally something I can run on my M4 Pro here. So, and yeah, to build an MCP for it. Maybe that's a sneak preview for what's next. Or we look at it now.
That's cool.
So
yeah. Wow. All sorts of good stuff. I love it. Well, thanks everyone for coming on, showing off all the updates. I'm glad that things are moving into production for some of us. I'm excited. And then, yeah, I'd love to have people come back on and do some more vibe code. And we do the stream every Friday. So if anyone wants to come back on, show off some new things that they're working on, cook some things live, get back into the box, if you will, we'll do that. But Sam, Bridget, Brendan, Harold, and Burke, wherever you're at now, thanks for coming on and showing this off. And if you're on YouTube, all of the links to the open source repos are all there, so you can check out the code as well. And we'll make sure all the links are there if they're not for anyone else. But there's a whole bunch of other projects, so go check out the streams. Any last final words from anybody?
Thank you. I guess thanks for setting it up. It was fun.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks for doing it. It's a lot to get in and do, the coding. I know someone was telling me, they're like, James, you looked frustrated and upset the entire time. And I was like, I was having one of those days. I was just having one of those days. The vibes were all over the place. But Myra was there and she was bringing me back. She was reading the vibes I was putting down.
Yeah, I think that was the takeaway. It was so much fun. Like the whole thing was like, there's so much happening and so many talks and so stressful. But the vibe sessions felt like there was joy, there was fun, there was exploration, there was frustration with the AI, but it still felt like a happy place, right?
Yeah, I agree. All right, cool. Well, that's going to do it for this Let It Cook. We'll be back next week. I know Burke is going to have some special guests, so make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things right here on the VS Code YouTube so you get up to date. So hit that notification bell. All right, until next week or whenever the next live stream is, we'll check y'all later. Bye-bye.